Hello and welcome to vVork. I'm Brian Watrous. This is the fifth in a 9-part video series in which we're exploring how to build a VRO lab environment on top of VMware Fusion. In this particular video, what we're going to be taking a look at is how to install the vSphere client into our new environment. Now, strictly speaking, this particular step of adding the vSphere client isn't absolutely necessary, so if you'd like to, you can skip over to the next video. On the other hand, if you'd like to see how to install the vSphere web client, the vSphere client, the older tool, then continue watching this video. Now, as you can see here, the installation procedure for the vSphere client is really quite straightforward. It's basically one of those next, finish type installs. All right, let me give you a little bit more detail than that. When you go through the installation, in order to perform the installation, you'll first need to download the vSphere client. I've already shown you how to do that back in video number 2. If you haven't already done so, go back to that video and you'll see how to download the vSphere client. But once you start installing the vSphere client, it's going to ask you to select what language you want. I'll choose English. You'll choose whatever language is appropriate for you. Then during the installation, I am presented the end user license agreement. I need to accept it, so I do that. Then I specify the installation folder where I want the vSphere client to be installed, and then I click the install button. So it's really quite straightforward. Now, one little point here, however, in order to make it easier for me to do the installation, or more specifically, to make it easier for me to get to the installer file from within my Windows virtual machine where I want to install the vSphere client, I've actually gone into Fusion. I selected my Windows virtual machine, then I clicked on the settings button so that I could configure something to make things easier. What I did in the settings wizard was I went to the sharing section, and in there, as you can see up top here, I've checked several different checkboxes. Crucially, I need to check that first checkbox to enable shared folders. And then wherever I put the vSphere client installer file, in my case, I happen to have put it into the documents folder, I need to make certain that I check that checkbox too. As you can see, I've checked additional checkboxes. Those just simply make it easier for me to share files back and forth between my Windows VM and my MacBook Pro. So, strictly speaking, you don't have to do any of these checkboxes, but it makes life easier. In this demonstration, I'll show you how to install the vSphere client. Now, strictly speaking, doing so is not necessary for our VRO lab environment, but I'm sure some of you are nostalgic for the good old vSphere client, so let me show you how to install it. All right, as you can see, I'm going to go into my Windows VM, and in here to kick off the installation, I'll open up a browser such as Chrome, and in here I will go to HTTP followed by the name FQDN of my ESXi server. So I can use either the ESXi servers I installed in the previous video. So if I hit enter, as you can see, I'm taken to a web page here where there's a number of different links, including the one for the downloading the vSphere client, which we'll use here in a moment. And by the way, did you know that there's an HTML5 version of the client? Anyways, we're here to talk about the vSphere client. To download the vSphere client, ordinarily I'd click on this link, but I'm actually not going to demonstrate that here in this video. I'm currently recording this video from a hotel room. I'm on a business trip, and the network for this hotel is awful. It takes me about 20 minutes to download the piddly little vSphere client. So I've actually already downloaded it. You, on the other hand, will click here to download the client. I, on the other hand, am going to go to my downloads folder, where, as you can see, I've already downloaded the installer for the vSphere client. So let me double click it. The installer kicks off. I'll click yes to continue. It extracts the installer. A few moments here, it's going to have a welcome screen. It's going to ask me to pick the language. It's going to ask me to accept the end user license agreement. Again, let's give it a few moments to extract the installer. All right, let's pick the language. For me, I'm speaking English, so I'm going to choose English. I'll click OK. After picking the installation language, I'm asked Actually, I'm greeted by the welcome screen. I'll click Next. Then I'm asked to accept the end user license agreement. I'll click Next. I'm asked what folder I want to install the vSphere client into. I'll go with the default and click Next. Click Install. In a few moments here, I'll have the vSphere client installed. So as you can see, the process of installing this tool it's very quick, it's straightforward, it's easy. In fact, it's pretty painless. The only painful part of this is that hotel network. All right, so the installation's almost done. Let's give it a few more moments. And as you can see, I'll go ahead and click Finish. My vSphere client is installed. I could use it to connect to either of those two virtualized ESXi servers that we've installed in the previous video. But for right now, for this video, this one's a real quick one. That's how you do it. That's how you install the vSphere client. That's optional. You don't have to do that, but what you do need to do, you definitely need to do, is go take a look at the next video in this video series, because in that video, I'll be showing you how to install the vCenter Server Virtual Appliance into our VRO lab environment. That vCenter Server Virtual Appliance is a crucial part of our infrastructure, so make certain you go take a look at the next video.